Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to express my wholehearted support for the bill here today. As I begin, I would like to add my voice to those who have commended the work of the disability campaigner Heidi Crowther and a number of others, including Edwin and Karen Wilson from my own constituency, who have bravely spoken of the impact of discriminatory abortion laws on their lives. What a joy Hannah is to the Wilson family and also her brother. For any who perhaps remain unconvinced about the disability discrimination problem that this legislation has been designed to address, imagine with me, if you will, that you or your partner are just 3 weeks shy of the long-anticipated arrival of a much-wanted child. And I appreciate that for some of us, this may be more of a distant stretch into our past than others. Imagine that heady mixture of excitement and not a little fear as you prepare for life as you know it to be turned upside down. Imagine the checklists of preparation to be made running through your mind. Now imagine sitting down with the nurse at the maternity unit and the question comes, are you sure? You know we do still terminate up to term in cases like this. How do you think it would feel for that woman and her family to realise that the maternity team who will care for her during those very vulnerable moments are contemplating, just weeks prior to birth, the possibility of a termination? How confident do you think she and her family will be that their child will be given the best possible chance at life and the highest standard of care? Sadly, we know that some women and some families do not have to imagine. Women in England and Wales have sat with the clinicians involved in their antenatal care, and just weeks before their due date, they have been forced to consider their pregnancy ending with the intentional death of their much-wanted child. Cheryl Billsborough is one of these women, and she says, at 38 weeks, when I went for a scan, the sonographer said, "You do know we abort babies full term with Down syndrome." Shocked, I replied, "I'll pretend I didn't hear that." She was offered an abortion just 3 days prior to giving birth to her little boy Hector. For quite some time now, in those jurisdictions, termination of pregnancy has been the only pathway for unborn children with an antenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome. Therefore, it is unsurprising that these are the questions clinicians regularly ask. How do we expect these women to feel reassured about their baby when the default pathway for their antenatal care is the deliberate ending of life? One woman, Emma Mellor, describes her experience saying, at 38 weeks, the doctors made it really, really clear that if I changed my mind on the morning of the induction, to let them know, because it wasn't too late. She had been offered 15 terminations. Many women have shared similar stories. In January of this year, St George's University Hospital London worked with 2 leading Down syndrome charities, introduced at a regional level an evidence-based best practice pathway for the care of women whose babies are diagnosed with Down syndrome prenatally. This is the first pathway to be introduced in an NHS trust anywhere in the UK, and it is indicament of our culture and our laws that this is groundbreaking in 2021. And let us not think the impact of these discriminatory laws stop at birth. Dr. Elizabeth Corcoran of the Down Syndrome Research Foundation says, research into the health issues affecting people with Down syndrome has been hampered and blocked by the ingrained belief that the only way to help the Down syndrome community is to reduce their numbers. Millions of pounds in funding has been poured into running and refining the screening process, whilst only £5.33 per person per year is spent on research that could improve the lives of the people with Down syndrome. This is not a mindset that has any place in our 21st century, and it is not a culture we want to tolerate here. The amendment proposed today sends a very clear message that people with Down syndrome and any other disability are equally valued members of our society, as the friends and families of those with Down syndrome will testify. Let me close by reminding the members present of the comment of the Special Rapporteur on the rights of persons with disability, who says of the UN Convention on the Same that Article 10 recognises and protects the right to life of persons with disabilities on an equal basis with others, which is critical for the contesting legislation, policies and practices whereby the lives of persons with disabilities have been put at risk because of the perceived low quality of life. The right to life includes the right to survive and develop on an equal basis with others. Disability cannot be a justification for the termination of life. Today, we have an opportunity to uphold this right and celebrate children like Tess and courageous women like Heidi by removing a provision that perpetuates discrimination from our laws. And I implore the members here today to vote for this bill.